Let's jump into this first story from timcast.com. Oklahoma governor signs bill making performing an abortion a felony. The law grants an exception for abortions performed to save the life of the mother. Governor Kevin Stitt signed Senate Bill 612 on April 12th. The measure makes it a felony to perform an abortion except to save the life of a mother. Anyone who performs an abortion could face up to 10 years in prison and a $100,000 fine. The law goes into effect in 90 days. Quote, "We want to outlaw abortion in the state of Oklahoma," Stitt said during a signing ceremony. "I promised Oklahomans that I would sign every pro-life bill that hits my desk, and that's what we're doing here today. Women who seek or receive an abortion are not subject to criminal charges under the bill." Now, my question is, Roe v. Wade still exists, right? So what's going on?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm never satisfied. So the bit there about except to save the life of the mother, I'm a little. I want to read more into that because I don't think that exception should be there because usually when you look into that, you find that, well, saving the life of the mother, what they're really talking about is if the mother is in emotional distress, then she can still get the abortion. So you have to look into that because in reality, there is never a need for an abortion to save a mother's life. It never actually happens. But putting that aside, I think what we see here is the Republican Party, and this is like a shock for those of us who grew up. We're so used to Republicans being milquetoast and cowardly, and many of them still are. But we're starting to see in some of these states, Oklahoma, Florida, like the Republicans are actually going on offense, which is exactly what you have to do, is go on offense and try to enact laws according to your own value system rather than always playing defense. And if you believe that abortion is the murder of a child, then of course you're going to do everything within your power to outlaw. You're not going to sit around and say, well, the Supreme Court has spoken. It's the murder of a child.
I think there's some there's a semantic issue here as well. So you said there's never a circumstance to perform an abortion to save the life of the mother.
Yeah.
So do you want to just elaborate on that?
Well, usually you hear about this abortion to save the life of the mother thing, and these especially late term abortions. And so what? I guess you got to use an example. So like one example would be, let's say the mother is pregnant and then has some sort of medical complication, cancer or something like that, and you have to end the pregnancy, especially later in later term. Well, yeah, you end the pregnancy to save the mother's life. You don't have to kill the child first, though. I mean, you can deliver the child.
At least try.
So you can at least attempt it. So I could submit and agree that there are times when to save the mother's life, you have to end the pregnancy, especially in later terms. But you don't have to. Killing the child is an extra step that is not necessary. You can deliver the child, and in many of these life-saving, quote-unquote, life-saving abortions, you have children that could be delivered, and you send them up to the NICU, and there's a good chance that the child could still survive.
Yeah, there's children that survive at like 21 weeks at this point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So viability continues to get lower and lower.
So just to clarify, because I mentioned a semantic issue, is what you're saying is they should at least try to save the life of the child.
Because abortion, here's what abortion is. Abortion is the direct intentional killing of the child. Mm-hmm. There is never a time when you need to commit the direct intentional killing of the child to save the mother.
So
late term abortion doesn't make any sense. Third trimester abortion is completely nonsensical because the child can survive.
Right, exactly. Because in the late term abortion, you're still delivering the child. There's still a delivery that happens. But you kill the child first. Yeah. Why do you need to kill the child? Just deliver the child.
Just to further clarify, in the instance where there is a severe abnormality and the baby likely will not survive and the mother likely will not survive a birth, you're saying that if they were to deliver the baby or maybe a C-section, they can at least try to save both? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. There's no reason why you wouldn't try to do that unless you're just saying that, well, the child's life doesn't count. He has no moral worth. Which is what our laws say right now in most states, is that the child's life, he has no moral worth. We don't have to try to save him.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, and I want to mention this because I basically said something along those lines on the last episode where we did discuss this. Yeah. There are procedures that will be referred to as abortions in order to make the argument that abortion is ever medically necessitated, and it's just not true. So if there is an operation that is required to save the life of the mother, but that poses a risk to the life of the unborn child, that is not the same thing as an abortion.